Shalom, everyone. The Gemara on page 32 and on, also in 34 and in 45 and on, will use the phrase Tikun Olam, to do something for the betterment of the world. And the phrase Tikun Olam, which is familiar to all of us, it comes in, social justice and doing good in the world. In Masechet Gittin is being used many, many times, mostly in regard to details about writing the get, and usually by Rabban Gamliel Azaken, who is the grandchild of Hillel Azaken, and he's the grandfather of Rabban Gamliel of Yavne. And Rabban Gamliel Azaken is looking around and is seeing some kind of behavior of people around the get, and decide this is not doing good to the idea of get. So let me share the page and see the sources inside. And I'll start with the Mishnah. And the Mishnah in Gittin chapter 4 is saying the following. Okay, the Mishnah relates that initially a husband who wished to render the bill of divorce void would convene a court elsewhere and render the bill of divorce void in the presence of the court before it reaches his wife. In other words, he sent a get to his wife, and then he regretted it, and he arranged a Beit Din of 3 people in the place where he is, and just canceled the get. That, of course, caused many confusions and also difficult halachic situations. So Rabban Gamliel the elder instituted that an ordinance that one should not do this. Why? For the betterment of the world. And the betterment of the world, Tikun Olam, becomes a phrase that Chachamim are using in order to say there's something which is okay halachically to do, but we're not going to do it because it causes difficulties, that causes pain to people and cause a mess halachically. And there's another example. The Gemara will, and this is the Mishnah, and the Gemara will explain that what it means later. And also there's another Mishnah says initially the husband would change his name and the name of his wife from the names by which they were known where they formerly lived to the names by which they known where the bill of divorce was written, and write the name of his city and the name of her city. And one was not required to list all the names but which the husband and the wife were known, but only the names in the place where the bill of divorce was being written. And again, Rabban Gamliel understand that it can cause confusion and a mess. And Rabban Gamliel is saying, the scribe should write in the bill of divorce the man so-and-so and any other name that he has. And it's the same thing for the woman so-so, and any other name that she has, and the place where they're at. And the reason for this ordinance was for the betterment of the world. Okay, and then, so people won't be confused. And again, the Gemara will explain to it. And we're not going to focus on the Tikun Olam regarding Gittin, but I just want to emphasize that it appears many times in Gittin from our page from 32 and on. For example, in page 34, Ha'edim chotmim al haget mipnei tikun olam. Again, the Mishnah lists additional ordinance that were instituted for the betterment of the world. For example, the witnesses signed their name on the bill of divorce, even though the bill of divorce is valid without their signature, for the betterment of the world, again, to avoid confusion. And another thing is Hillel Azaken, as we know, institute the document that prevents the sabbatical year from abrogating an outstanding debt of money, so people are not going to loan money at the end of Shemitah. Why? For the betterment of the world, as the Gemara explains. Okay, so that's another example which has nothing to do with Gittin, but it's also mentioned in Gittin and in page 45, for example. And podim et hashvuim yater al damehen. Yeah, the captives are not redeemed for more than what the real actual monetary value for the betterment of the world. And one may not aid captives in their attempt to escape from their captors for the betterment of the world, so that the kidnappers will not be more restrictive with their captives to prevent them from escaping. And the first part is, of course, for not asking for too much money that the community won't be able to handle. And as we know, there were many captives, many shvuim in that time, and the Jewish community worked really hard to redeem every soul, but to a certain degree. But what I want to do is emphasize on the concept of Tikkun Olam. In some of the midrashim, this phrase appears in many other, in the Talmudic literature, in the midrash literature. And I want to attach two midrashim sources, and then some Jewish thought ideas. So, and I'm starting from a midrash in Bereshit Rabbah. I believe it's a bit, it's familiar, and if not, so it's a nice one to know. And the story and the midrash goes to say a philosopher asked Rav Hoshaya, and he said to him, now, a philosopher, it's very interesting because the Gemara uses the words min, apikores, a kofer, but philosopher comes to tell us that he's obviously not Jewish, but he's not necessarily a Christian, and he could be Hellenistic, either Greek or Roman, but he's a philosopher because he's looking around in the world and he has questions about the creation and about people. And this philosopher asked Rav Hoshaya, and he said to him, if God so loves circumcision, why didn't he not give it to Adam? In other words, he's asking, if circumcision is such an important mitzvah, and what you need to do in order to get there, you need to remove an orla, how come God did not create men already circumcised? And Rav Hoshaya said to him, why does that man, in other words, why does that man shave the corners of your head and leave the corners of your hair, of your beard? Okay, why? You were born with hair, and you grew hair as you grow up, and then you decide to shave the hair. You interfered with something that you were born with, and now you look different. And the answer of the philosopher was, and he said to him, because it grew with me in fully. Like, this is how I grew up with, like, since I was a child. The beard came later. So before I started growing the beard, I shaved my hair, and I grow the beard, and the beard is a new thing, and I don't make anything out of it. So then Rav Hoshaya is answering him a very peculiar answer, and he said to him, if so, you should blind your eyes, lop off your hand, and serve and sever your legs, since they grew with you in follow as well. I mean, they are with you since you were born as your hair, but you don't do anything to them to fix them. And the philosopher is looking at Rav Hoshaya, and he said to him, to this words we have come one, I wonder. Like, this is what you're giving me as an answer? I'm asking you a serious question, and you telling me such weird answers that are not in the level of the discussion I was waiting for. So Rav Hoshaya is saying to him, okay, I understand that he needs to give him an answer. So he said to him, look, anything created in the first 6 days needs further actions. For example, mustard seeds need sweetening, peas need sweetening, wheat needs grinding, even humans need fixing. Okay, so I want to go back and open this discussion a little bit more. The philosopher is asking a good question. He's like, if circumcision is to become brings the perfection in the brit, in the relationship with God, how come Adam wasn't created circumcised? And the answer that at the end Rav Oshaya is giving, which is true not only for men, and that's another discussion which I'm not going to touch here, but it's true. He's giving him an answer about reality and about human beings and about the world. And what Rav Oshaya is telling him, look, God initially created the world so there will be room for us as people to we become part of God's creation. And when we say that we become part of God's creation, we look around us, there's sorts of foods that are not ready to eat and we need to cook or sweeten or add spices. We don't grow bread out of the ground, right? We grow wheat, we grind the wheat to flour, we make bread. We're becoming participant in creation. And also, even humans need fixing. In other words, the fixing that we need has to do with understand that life is about a process. And what I am is not everything I have in me. And I can take myself and my life and betterfy them and elevate them. And I can be much more every time and not be set to this is who I am, this is how I was born, and not strive to change. And from another angle, there's the Midrash in Kohelet Rabbah, that says, the Pasuk says, see the work of God, for who can mend what he has wrapped? In other words, something that is broken or twisted, we can't fix it, says Kohelet. But the Midrash takes it and he say, see the work of God, for who can mend what he has wrapped? When the Holy One, blessed he, created Adam, the first man, he took him and showed him all the trees in the Garden of Eden. And he said to him, see my creation, how beautiful and exemplary they are. Every time everything I created for you. Make certain that you do not ruin and destroy my world. As if you destroy it, there will be no one to mend it after you. In other words, there are two parts to it. One part is the part of Bereshit Rabbah that tells us even man needs fix, and the world we can take what God gave us in the world and make it something better. Why? Because God wants us to take responsibility over our life and understand that we can always be in a process and grow. But there's another part to it, and the other side of it is that there are things in the world that it's up to us, because if we break them, and if we destroy them, and if we ruin them, we won't be able to fix them. It lies in our court. It lies in our responsibility. So both sides of responsibility, the responsibility of taking what we have from God, whether in ourselves or in the world and other people, and always grow and always change and always betterfy itself, but also to think very, very closely and deeply of the things that we shouldn't do, because if we do them, there's no way back, and if we ruin them, we cannot fix them. And Tikun Olam in that sense is saying we have responsibility both to better the world and make sure we're not ruining the world and we're not making it worse. And with that, I want to end with Rabbi Nachman, because what Rabbi Nachman says in Likutei Moharan is, now each person must say, the entire world was created only for my sake, as we saw in the Midrash in Kohelet Rabbah. God is telling Adam, Of course, it's Adam and Eve, it's men and women, it's people. And God is telling us, look what I created, look how beautiful the world is. It's for you to use and build and do, but make sure you're not going to do something that you cannot fix. So Rabbi Nachman is quoting the Gemara in Sanhedrin, says that the entire world was created only for my sake, but consequently, says Rabbi Nachman, because the world was created for my sake, I must constantly look into and consider ways of making the world better, to provide what is missing in the world and pray on its behalf. And I think that here Rav Nachman is adding another layer. In other words, the world was created for me, and therefore I don't have the permission to ruin the world. I have the responsibility to take care of myself and the world. And I need to look around me and try to see and try to find out what's need, what's need perfection, or what needs to be betterified, and how can I make it better, and where is something that is which is less, can chisron, and to consider all the things around me and the people around me that I can help them grow and I can help them have something that right now they don't have. He's also adding prayer. And Rav Nachman is saying another way to be engaged in Tikun Olam is to make sure that we are not blind to what the world needs from us, and to pray that we have that ability to see what's missing and to fix it, and also to see to see the treasure in things that we don't see yet, like the example of the grain and the flour and the bread and the wheat and the bread. And to see that and to have those raw things that God left in the world for us to make something good out of it. And it's a challenge, but it's our challenge and it's our responsibility.